U.S. President Joe Biden has laid out a new three-phase ceasefire plan for Gaza.
It's time to begin this new stage. For the hostages to come home, for Israel to be secure, for the suffering to stop. It's time for this war to end.
The proposal would begin with a 6-week ceasefire in which the IDF would withdraw from the populated areas of Gaza. All hostages would eventually be released. There would be negotiations for a permanent ceasefire and a reconstruction plan for Gaza over the long term. So will both sides agree to this proposal? Ehud Olmert was Israel's prime minister from 2006 to 2009, and I spoke to him earlier from Tel Aviv. Former Prime Minister of Israel, Ehud Olmert, thank you for joining us, sir.
Hi.
I know you're busy, you're in a car, so I want to get right to it. President Biden has unveiled a new three-phase ceasefire plan. What do you make of the plan, and do you think that Hamas will accept it?
Well, first of all, I have to say that there is something quite unclear about the presentation of President Biden. President Biden said that this is a plan that was submitted to him by Israel. So the first question is, does Israel stand behind this plan? Does Israel accept this plan? Is the Prime Minister of Israel consistent in supporting the plan that apparently he has presented President Biden with, or he's running away from it, which is perhaps not quite surprising for Prime Minister Netanyahu? That I don't know. This has to be checked. The Hamas said from the outset that they look positively at this plan. How consistent they will be, I also don't know. So here is the problem. There is one leader, President Biden, who is absolutely reliable and trustworthy, in a very, I think, in a very dramatic presentation. Speaking directly to the Israeli people, he presented a plan which I think should be indeed the turning point in the tragic historical events that we have gone through in the last few months, and that it should be the point where from we will reach an understanding about stopping the war, returning all the hostages back to Israel, and starting a process that will help control Gaza by security forces that will prevent Hamas from coming back and will provide the necessary security precautions for the state of Israel. Are these two sides ready for it? I doubt it very much.
Thank you for clarifying that there are some reports that this plan actually came from Israel. It's not clear if it came from the Prime Minister, though, because he has yet to accept it. So that part is a little bit confusing, I think it's fair to say. There is a lot of pressure on the Prime Minister to accept this plan, but there are, as you know, Mr. Olmert, some far-right allies who are threatening to collapse his government. Both the National Security Minister and the Finance Minister say they will leave the coalition and topple the government if the proposal is accepted. Is this a choice that Netanyahu has to make, either accept this plan or risk his political future?
I think that the problem of Netanyahu is that if he will accept this plan, he will most likely lose the part of his cabinet and his present political partners that will leave him. However, he may gain the partnership of present partners, generals, former chief of staff, Gantz and Eisenkot. The choice is for Netanyahu to make. Does he agree to move forward into a new horizon, or is he completely dependent on his messianic extreme right-wing partners, and at the end of the day, he will prefer them over the more sober, reasonable, balanced, responsible, experienced partners, such as the generals and the others? Based on the experience that we have with Netanyahu, I'm afraid that he will prefer the messianic, extremist, right-wing warmongers, Ben-Gvir and Smotrich. And therefore, I am not very optimistic about the chances that the plan that was presented by President Biden, which according to his own words, and I heard him and I watched the broadcast live, he said it was presented to him by the Israeli government. So
Yes.
it looks like that the plan that was presented by the Israeli government to President Biden will be rejected by the Israeli government.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to ask you, Mr. Olmert, too, about the decision by Spain, Ireland, and Norway to officially recognize a Palestinian state. There are, as you know, some countries that believe that that should happen without direct negotiations with Israel. Of course, you tried to negotiate peace. What do you make of countries recognizing a Palestinian state without negotiations? Does that work? Could it work?
No, I think it's a mistake. And I say it on the basis of my personal involvement in trying to build up this process of negotiations for a two-state solution.
Yes.
So I'm absolutely in favor of this solution. But I think that if I could, I would have talked to Prime Minister Sanchez and the other prime ministers of the other countries and explained to them why I think that this is a mistake for what they want to achieve. Because if indeed there will be a widespread recognition of a Palestinian state without negotiations, Palestinians will never negotiate with the state of Israel anymore. And this is something that will be counterproductive. It will not bring peace. It will not create a Palestinian state. It will delay any possible solution for an indefinite period of time. So the Palestinians must understand that there is no alternative to negotiations, as Israelis must understand. But recognizing a Palestinian state without any negotiations, just like this, I think it's a mistake, and I think that they will live to regret it.
Mr. Olmert, I'm going to let you go. You're a very busy man. Thank you for making time for me today, sir.
Thank you very much, Rosemary.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.